Council President, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council to order for August 18th, 2016 at 8 p.m. On roll call, council members Coletti. Here. Churdo. Here. Dombrowski. Here. Giandomenico. Giandomenico.
Here.
Martino. Here. Boncino.
Here.
Mayor Mola is absent due to vacation.
Can everybody please rise for our prayer and flag salute? O God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting, which we entrust with your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and implant therein a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so that our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey requires at the commencement of every meeting a statement of compliance to be read by the presiding officer. Now therefore be advised that the meeting requirements for this meeting have been met by publishing a revised meeting notice in the Record and Herald News of Woodland Park, and by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well as in a public place within the municipal building, and by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on June 20th, 2016.
Council President, tonight under the approval of minutes, we have the May 12th, 2016 work session, June 16th, 2016 work session, June 16th, 2016 executive session, June 23rd, 2016 work session, June 23rd, 2016 executive session, July 14th, 2016 regular meeting, August 4th, 2016 work session, and August 4th, 2016 executive session.
We have a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Councilman Dombrowski.
Second?
I'll just recuse myself from June 16th and July 14th because I wasn't here.
July 14th for me.
Myself also, Keith. July 14th.
And Keith, June 16th, both sessions, for my head illness.
On roll call, council members Coletti.
Yes.
Churdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski. Yes. Giandomenico.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Boncino.
Yes.
Motion carries. Council President, at this time, I'd like to invite up to the podium our Police Chief, Michael Foligno, to discuss the accreditation presentation to the Elmwood Park Police Department. Chief?
Thank you. Mr. Delgado from the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police is here to present the Elmwood Park Police Department with our accreditation and platinum certificate.
Council, Chief, it is indeed an honor to be here tonight to recognize the Elmwood Park Police Department as one of the best police departments in not only the state, but perhaps in the nation. I should say that most certainly, because I should know. Since they have followed best practices, not only in the state of New Jersey, but national best practices as well, and they have completed the rigorous process of accreditation in the state of New Jersey. So if you indulge me for a couple of minutes, I'd like to share with you the significance of that achievement. Accreditation represents a significant professional achievement. And to add some context to that, there's over 470 agencies in the state of New Jersey that would be eligible to apply for accreditation. To date, it's only 162 that are accredited. And that is certainly due to the rigor of the process itself. So many others are in the process and would like to achieve it, but many, like the Elmwood Park Police Department, are not being able to achieve so. This time. So accreditation is a process. The foundation of accreditation lies in the adoption of standards containing a clear statement of professional objectives. In this case, 105 standards in the state of New Jersey. Accreditation is a progressive and time-proven way of helping law enforcement agencies calculate and improve their overall performances. It is a certification by independent review and authority, in this case the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police, that the accredited agency was carefully measured against an established set of state and national standards And I am proud to say, in the case of the Elmwood Park Police Department, in many instances exceeded those national standards. Research shows that accredited agencies have 11 fewer police professional liability claims, 18% fewer worker compensation claims, 31% fewer auto liability claims. And moreover, municipalities who participate in the affiliated joint insurance fund as the Elmwood Park Police Department stand to receive substantial insurance premium discounts. And I know certainly taxpayers are very happy to hear that. But in addition to the fiscal advantages of accreditation, there are other, just as important, perhaps more important benefits of accreditation. Accredited agencies are better able to defend against lawsuits and citizen complaints. Accreditation provides objective evidence of an agency's commitment to excellence in leadership, resource management, and service delivery. Government officials can be more confident in the agency's ability to operate efficiently and meet community needs. And accreditation embodies a very important precepts of community-oriented policing. It creates a forum in which police and citizens work together to prevent and control challenges confronting law enforcement and provides a proven management system, and clear direction about community expectations. Accreditation standards give the chief a proven management system or written directives, sound training, clearly defined lines of authority, and routine reports that support decision-making and resource allocation. Police departments that follow best practices are more effective in delivering the police services as well as more efficient in the way they do that delivery. And more important, I see many here tonight, officers in accredited agencies are able to take part that they have been objectively recognized for the professionalism and adherence to the high standards. Now, at the end of this rigorous process that might take between 18 to 24 months for an agency to complete, we come in and we do a physical on-site assessment this last 2 days. And during that time, we want to make sure that the police department offers clear proof that they meet the 105 standards, multiple proofs in many instances, just to meet the one standard. And in that, we also delve into other areas of the police department and things that are doing that are notable, that should receive notable mention. Now, in Elmwood Park, to accommodate the community in these needs, the Elmwood Park Police Department has hired several bilingual officers. Currently, those officers are deployed in 4 squads that are able to communicate in Spanish, German, Polish, and Italian. Impressive. The agency updated its 911 communication center. The agency was the first in Bergen County to have body cams and one of the first in the state of New Jersey. They utilized Narcan in the patrol vehicles, recognizing a growing need to address the heroin overdose. In 2015, the agency purchased a firearms training simulator to enhance the training for agency personnel. I don't think I need to say more to state the case for the Elmwood Park Police Department and what they have achieved here this year. So it is the opinion of the assessment team that the Elmwood Park Police Department is a highly professional and committed agency that exemplifies all of the tenets of law enforcement accreditation. So therefore, the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police and the New Jersey Law Enforcement Commission congratulate Chief Michael Foligno, Accreditation Manager Lieutenant Mark Morgan, the members and staff of the Elmwood Park Police Department, the mayor and council of those citizens that they so proudly serve, for achieving accreditation, joining a very exclusive group of law enforcement agencies that have made this important commitment to excellence in policing. So tonight, I'd like to congratulate you.
This process was very rigorous, long, drawn out, but very, very rewarding and fulfilling. It did take us almost 24 months, and before I accept this, I need all these guys to come up here and gals, the entire department, because without them, we could not have achieved this. I'm just pointing this the way, and they're running with it, and these guys did a great job. We couldn't have did it without their buy-in, and believe me, they bought in, and we are a professional, accredited agency because of these men and women that you see here. Mr. Luke, please come up and join us. You're part of the team too. And retired Captain Brian DiPasquale was here through most of the process. He's going to get up here too and take credit for this because we did this together. First assignment, man. Laura.
That was Officer Penna's first duty.
Right? I hope that finger wasn't on the block agent.
Keith, I just wanted to say something, all right? Keith, I'm just going to say something.
Lou, thank Mr. Delgado. He's leaving.
Mr. Delgado, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say one thing regarding the accreditation. Over my tenure, a number of police chiefs discussed potentially pursuing accreditation.
Folks, if we could have everybody's attention for the council president's remarks.
When
Thank you.
When Chief Foligno came on board, one of the first things he said was, we're going to pursue accreditation. And I know from my experience in my business, where I work, we have to have accreditation in our line of business to continue winning government contracts. And we have to get our procedures and guidelines in place. We have to execute to those procedures. And then at the end of the day, we have to prove that we're following those procedures. And that's the most difficult part, or the motto in work where I work is say it, do it, improve it. And every year when we go back and do the accreditation, the hardest part is showing that evidence that you're following your procedures and your standards. And attaining this accreditation and the work that Chief Foligno and the department did is a testament that they want to achieve and pursue and maintain an excellence in police and law enforcement. And I'm definitely proud of everything they've done. They've done a great job. And I am sure, based on their work ethic, the prove it part every year beyond this will be a non-issue. Thank you, guys and ladies. Thank you.
Council President, at this time, I'd like to move on to the appointment resolution on tonight's agenda, Resolution R-275-16, appoint Police Officer Emmanuel Penna to the Elmwood Park Police Department. Be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following named be and is hereby appointed as a police officer in the Police Department of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Emmanuel Penna of Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Be it further resolved that said appointment is in accordance with the intergovernmental transfer process as promulgated by the New Jersey Civil Service Commission, and be it further resolved that remuneration is set forth at a rate of $44,345 effective August 18th, 2016.
We have a motion on this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Martino and Councilman Churdo.
On roll.
Any discussion? I just want to add, I guess in my tenure on council, Mr. Penna came up for our interview, and I've never interviewed a candidate, at least in my position here in government, that portrayed a professional and positive attitude, and he's going to be an asset to our department. I look forward to swearing him in a couple minutes.
Council President, may I?
Yes.
Yeah, this was a different interview, as my colleague had mentioned. Most of the time, well, all the time, the candidates, they interview pretty well, and the ones that naturally get the job interview a little better. But this gentleman tonight, he displayed a quality that it's surreal and intangible that just makes me think 20 years from now, his legacy is going to be that of a fine officer from Elmwood Park.
Call the roll call.
On roll call, Councilmembers Coletti,
Yes.
Churdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Bonsino.
Yes.
Motion carries. The council president will come down below the dais, and Officer Penna and his family will come forward.
Get the spot.
I was gonna get in.
Bring him up.
He should face the other way so the camera sees.
Mike?
Excuse me, Council President, can you have him turn to the other side?
In a minute there. My first time on this side of the Bible, so bear with me. We're going to be over here by the microphone a little bit. We're okay over here like this? Ready to go? I, Emmanuel Pena,
I, Emmanuel Pena,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority
under the authority
of the people,
of the people,
that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of police officer
all the duties of the office of police officer
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, welcome to
Congratulations. Thanks for coming.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Good luck. Be safe.
Council President, may I say something?
Okay. Anybody have any comments?
Yes, Council President, I'd like to let everybody else out there know that this was a little bit of history being made here. Many of you know that we've had the same mayor for about 44 years, and only the mayor of Elmwood Park has ever sworn in all the officers. I'm sure all of you have only been sworn in by Mayor Mola. Tonight's the first night that our council president, so he's made the history, and congratulations, Council President, you did an excellent job.
I don't know if that's accurate. We might have to go back and look at the videotape.
Yeah, looks like
To Officer Penna, I congratulate you. Welcome aboard to the team. Stay safe out there, and looking forward to working with you.
And just to echo what Councilman Dombrowski said, welcome to our police department. Stay safe while you patrol on the streets, and thank you for the service you provide to our streets and watching everybody. Thank you.
Yes, if the chief of the police department wants to break for something, or do you have something? Or do you have something?
Refreshments downstairs
Okay.
for the family and the new officer. We just wanted to, again, thank you for your continued support of the police department, and as always, we enjoy the working relationships that we have together. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a 10-minute recess.
Okay, Council President, we'll move on to ordinances this evening on first reading. Start with Resolution 276-16, introduce ordinance 16-16 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, Chapter 2 thereof, entitled Administration, be passed and adopted on first reading. And be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, September 15th, 2016, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the borough clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Can I have a motion on the introduction of ordinance 1616?
So moved.
So, second?
Councilman Martino, Councilman Dombrowski. Any discussion? I guess I'll just make a point. This ordinance provides a temporary modification to our police table of organization. It gives our chief the flexibility to meet staffing demands while executing, meeting his community policing objectives.
On roll call, Councilmember Scaletti?
Yes.
Churdo?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Jim Domenico?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Bonsino?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Michael. The other one. There you go.
Also on first reading tonight, we have Resolution 277-16, introduce ordinance 16-17 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 7 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Traffic by amending Sections 7-11 and 7-13.1 thereof be passed and adopted on first reading. And whereas, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, September 15th, 2016, at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter, as the same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing is required by law.
Can I have a motion on introduction of ordinance 16-17?
So moved.
Councilwoman John Domenica? Second?
Second.
Councilman Cherto? Any discussion? This ordinance clarifies parking restrictions on River Drive. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, Councilmembers Coletti?
Yes.
Surratt?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Domenico?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Bonsino?
Yes.
Motion carries. And lastly, on first reading, we have Resolution 278-16, introduce ordinance 16-18 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled A Capital Ordinance of the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, authorizing the undertaking of various improvements to Cherry Hill Park in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park, appropriating therefore the sum of $125,000 and providing that such sum so be appropriated shall be raised from a county grant and from the borough's reserve for the Recreation Trust Fund expenditures. Be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, September 15th, 2016, at 8 p.m., or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Can I have a motion on ordinance 16-18?
So moved.
Councilman Dombrowski?
Second.
Councilwoman John Domenica? Any discussion? This ordinance that we're introducing tonight is in regard to upgrading equipment at Cherry Hill Park, improvements at the park. We are going to pursue the Bergen County Open Space Grant. This year is going to be extremely competitive. I think the total funding allocated is less than $300,000, but we're committed to making the improvements at Cherry Hill. Call the roll.
On roll call, Councilmembers Coletti?
Yes.
Surratt?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Domenico?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Bonsino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Council President, on second reading this evening, we have three ordinances. The first is Resolution R-279-16, introduce ordinance 16-13 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to appropriate an additional sum of $107,200 for the undertaking of streetscape improvements to the Market Street corridor in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such additional appropriations, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. And whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, July 14th, 2016, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to appropriate an additional sum of $107,200 for the undertaking of streetscape improvements to Market Street in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such an additional appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, pass on final reading. Council President will need a motion to open the hearing to the public.
Can I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Councilman Dombrowski?
Second.
Councilman Cherto? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to be heard regarding this ordinance? I see that nobody has raised their hand. I'll close the public portion. Can I have a motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Councilman Dombrowski?
Second.
Councilman Martino? Any discussion? Call the roll.
On roll call, Councilmembers Coletti?
Yes.
Surratt?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Domenico?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Bonsino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is Resolution R-280-16, introduce ordinance 16-14 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to authorize the making of a public improvement and the acquisition of new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $357,500 to pay the cost thereof and to make a down payment to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such an appropriation and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. And whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, July 14th, 2016, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to authorize the making of a public improvement and the acquisition of new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment, in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $357,500 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such an appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in the anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Pass on final reading. Council President will need a motion to open to the public.
Can I have a motion to open to the public, please?
So moved.
Councilman Coletti, Councilman Cherto. Is there, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to be heard on this ordinance? Not seeing any hands, I'll close the public portion. Can I have a motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Councilman Coletti, Councilman Cherto. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. Council President, I'd like to, tonight I'll be voting no on this ordinance. As I've stated at the first reading, of the $357,000 that's being appropriated, approximately $240,000 of that will be going for a large dump truck. And my colleagues will sit up here and say that they feel that the superintendent has justified the need for it. And in my opinion, I don't feel that there's been justification. This large dump truck is smaller than a 40-yard container, which we currently have two 40-yard containers down at the DPW that could be put onto the roll-off truck that could be used as a large dump truck. And I'm not against buying a truck or any kind of vehicle. I just have an issue with buying a large dump truck that I feel will be sitting down at the DPW for 300 days out of the year and not being used. And if we really needed it that bad, why are we not using the 40-yard containers currently? And that is the reason why I will be voting no on this. Not saying that we don't need vehicles and maintain, maybe we need more, pickup trucks. Maybe we need, some smaller trucks. I just don't see the need for a large dump truck. And I mean a large dump truck that you see, these Sanzari trucks that are pulling out of Van Riper Avenue. One of those is going to be sitting down at the DPW for 300 days out of the year. Could be used during the snow. Okay? But why can't we buy a vehicle that can do just as good of a job but has a multi-purpose? Why do we need just a large dump truck when we already have 40-yard containers? That's why I'll be voting no.
Can I, hold on, can I talk first?
Councilman Cherto.
So while, Joe, I do agree in the multi-use factor, but I wouldn't like to just paint that picture that the 40-yard dumpsters are there and not used. They were used as recent as Friday when the storm hit. When the storm hit and people needed the trees taken care of immediately, there they were, those 40-yard dumpsters. They were there, they were loaded, they were brought down to DPW, and when they were brought down to DPW, a hydraulic line broke, which meant we had no other way to get all of this material out of the street outside of using pickup trucks, which added more time, more labor, more cost. The justification is that if something goes down, we need to have a piece of apparatus that can do the job.
Councilman Coletti.
Yeah, I have some notes on the subject. These equipment purchases were extremely vetted by this council to the tune of 3 meetings with Scott Cars, our DPW director, so as to be sure of their needs. The biggest cost item is the tandem dump truck my colleague is talking about, which will carry approximately 20 tons of material. The current Mason dump truck we have carries maybe 3 or 4 tons. The new truck will make 1 trip as opposed to 5 trips by the existing Mason dump truck, subsequently freeing up manpower for other duties. Other functions for this truck: it'll aid in snow plowing, snow removal, and let's just picture a 3, 4, 5-foot pileup of snow during the course of the winter, and we have to move this snow in order for businesses on Market Street to function properly, Well, that's where this large capacity is going to come into very handy. Carrying large amounts of material to and from water breaks and sewer. Now, most of you know that we maintain our sewers and water breaks. And when you're in the road there, the more difficult ones we hand out to a specialist. But for the majority of the time, we are handling these water breaks and sewer breaks. And you have a 3.5-yard dump truck there, and it's going back and forth, it doesn't make it. You need a truck that would have quantity. There's no doubt in my mind, and I've been in construction for 50 years, and I've drove dump trucks for 10 years, that this is a smart and cost savings purchase for this town.
Anyone else?
Yes, I will just echo what Councilman Chirdo and Coletti have mentioned. We did have Scott in a couple times, and he was asked to cost quantify the purchase of the truck, and he showed us pictures of deteriorating conditions of some of his current equipment. He spoke about the additional man hours that were incurring in overtime costs and others. There was a couple things that Scott requested, and we asked him to itemize what he needed and what he thought would save the department and the borough money. You do have to keep in mind, we have a staff of about 19 or 20. They've been in the borough for 20 or so years. A lot of them do take vacations. A lot of them are out on the days. Scott is limited with his personnel, and for him to not have the dump truck, he would have to put in that many additional hours of overtime and cost on the borough for a dump truck that has a lifespan of over 20 years. So.
Anyone else? We're good? Okay, call the roll.
On roll call, council members Coletti,
Yes.
Chirdo,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
No.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Bonsivo.
Yes.
Motion carries. And the final ordinance this evening on second reading, Resolution R 281-16, introduce ordinance 16-15 on second reading, whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled an ordinance amending ordinance 2-63.5 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Outside Police Contracting Service Fee Schedule, and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, July 14, 2016, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled an ordinance amending ordinance 2-63.5 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Outside Police Contracting Service Fee Schedule pass on final reading. Council President will need a motion to open to the public.
Can I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Councilwoman Giandomenico,
Second.
Councilman Chirdo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone in the public wishing to be heard on this ordinance? No hands. So I'll close the public portion. Can I have a motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Second, third?
Councilman Coletti, Councilman Dombrowski. Any discussion?
I'd like to say something. This ordinance, we increased administrative fees for our outside duty to $45 from $15, and I'm very happy to see this ordinance on our agenda for vote today. One of the first things when I met Chief Feligno downstairs, I said to him, is that we have to look at the outside duty billing, because our cars are running 24/7 when the guys are out there on traffic calls. They don't shut off the cars, the vehicle, the wear and tear is moving, we incur administrative fees. So I have been very adamant to the chief and our CFO when I've had discussions, as well as the police committee. So I'm very happy to see this come to fruition today.
Okay, call the roll.
On roll call, council members Coletti,
Yes.
Chirdo.
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
Giandomenico.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Bonsivo.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have Resolution 282-16, payment of bills, Resolution 283-16, payment of escrow, Resolution 284-16, confirmation of payroll, Resolution 285-16, award proposal to Alamo Engineering for the sewer line work at the Market Street Bridge, Resolution 286-16, authorize engineer's estimate number 2, ADA ramps on county roads to PA Construction, Resolution 287-16, authorize additional funding, Market Street Streetscape Phase 2 to Boswell Engineering. Resolution 288-16, authorize execution of shared services, short-term rental of street sweeper with the County of Bergen. Resolution 289-16, authorization to renew membership in the South Bergen Joint Insurance Fund. Resolution 290-16, resolution to redeem third-party tax lien for 265 Route 46. Resolution 291-16, approve request to utilize Borough Grandstand for St. Leo's RC Church for their annual festival. Resolution 292-16, proclamation supporting the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2016 statewide crackdown. Resolution 293-16, appoint spray park attendant in the Recreation Department. Resolution 294-16, appoint special 2 law enforcement officers for shared services with the Elmwood Park Board of Education. Resolution 295-16, appoint crossing guards for the 2016-2017 school year with the Elmwood Park Police Department. Resolution 296-16, approve request to utilize recreation bus for the Elmwood Park Bombers for the 2016 fall season. Resolution 297-16, authorize salary adjustment due to state certification for the municipal court administrator, Deborah Zafante. Resolution 289-16, authorize salary adjustment for permanent status for municipal court administrator, Deborah Zafante. Resolution 299-16, authorize online auction of surplus property. Resolution 300-16, authorize recreation refunds for various programs. Resolution 301-16, resolution supporting a fair school funding formula. Resolution 302-16, appoint the before and after school program employees for the Recreation Department. Resolution 303-16, authorize compliance for designating of bond anticipation notes as qualified tax-exempt obligations. Resolution 304-16, approve alcohol beverage permit for social fare for the Blue Knights Law Enforcement Club, Patterson Chapter 17. And Resolution 305-16, resolution to adopt the consent agenda.
May I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Councilwoman John Domenica,
Second.
Councilman Cherto. Any discussion?
Just one, 30416, Keith, can you just make sure the Board of Health has notice of that?
304?
30416,
That's the
Yeah, sure.
recent ad.
please. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Call the roll.
On roll call, Councilmember Scaletti?
Yes.
Cherto?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Domenico?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Consino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Departmental reports, Building Department reports for May, June, and July 2016. Library minutes for May 16th, 2016, regular and special meeting minutes, and June 20th, 2016 for the Library Board's regular meeting. Police Department report for June, Municipal Court report for June, Recreation Department report for July, After School Program Financial report for the 2015-2016 school year, Finance Department report for July, and Department of Public Works report for both June and July 2016.
May I have a motion to accept and file the reports?
So moved.
Councilman Dombrowski.
Second.
Councilwoman John Domenica. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And finally, Council President, we have applications for American Legion Post 147, both a bingo application and a separate raffle application.
Okay, so I guess it's council reports.
Actually, we'll need a motion on the application.
Need a motion on the application.
Make a motion.
So moved.
Councilman Dombrowski, second.
Second.
Councilman Cherto.
You almost had it perfect.
It wasn't on my script.
You can do it, boys. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That concludes my portion of the agenda.
Okay, so council reports. We'll start with Councilwoman John Domenica.
Thank you. This evening, we entered into 2 shared services agreement, one of them being the rental of the street sweeper with the county. And the second one is into putting retired law officers into our schools. So it's a shared service agreement with our schools. They will be providing half of the funding for the salary, and the other half will be coming from the borough. And the borough will also be paying for the uniforms for the officers, as well as the training and providing a vehicle. And this will put a highly trained retired law enforcement into our schools, will add a significant measure of security, I think, for all of our students and us as parents. It puts us at ease. And it's a 1-year contract, so we will reevaluate it when the year comes up and for its effectiveness. And if any adjustments need to be made, that's when they would be made. The next Board of Ed meeting is August 23rd. Also, lastly, we put one of the resolution is enforcing drunk driving, and I think it ranges from August 29th to September 5th, but that is a year-long initiative, and it's not only an initiative for our police department, it's an initiative that all of us need to undertake to not only educate our kids about it, but if you are at that bar with that one friend that looks a little tipsy or that they shouldn't be driving, but they're great to drive, take those keys, because you're not only endangering their lives, but other lives on the street. And our police officers, as they have been, will be out there patrolling and being increased, so please stay off your cell phones, don't drink and drive, and save a life.
Councilman Dombrowski?
Thank you. On the Board of Health, recently there has been another rabies incident in town where we found a rabid groundhog. I would just like to, let residents know, if you see anything that looks suspicious, if you see an animal that you think shouldn't be out, might not be acting properly, please call our police desk immediately. They will come out there, they will inform our Bergen County Animal Services, and they will come out. Fortunately, this animal was caught, and, the other thing is make sure that your dogs and cats that are out there walking the streets are protected and have their rabies shots, because you certainly don't want to have an incident where your pet is bitten by one of these rabid animals. So please, if you see something, that's saying, see something, say something, call 911, and the police will be there to respond. I'd also like to, congratulate, one of the things that, in our town, we're 2.8 square mile, and we have businesses that come and go, and there's a new business that's actually opening up on Route 4. It's Kyle's Barber Studio. It's 103B Broadway here in Elmwood Park. He's a young man, Kyle Einat. He's a former graduate of Elmwood Park High School. He's still an Elmwood Park resident. He's opening up, and he's going to be having his grand opening on August 27th. The mayor and council is welcome to join at 10 a.m. For his grand opening. So I'd just like to invite the public to that as well. And tonight we accredited our police department, and I congratulate them on achieving that. And I certainly also want to congratulate Officer Penna. And as I said to him when he was leaving, I wish him safety, and he will be a great asset to this department. Progress.
Thank you. Councilman Coletti? Threw you off there, huh?
Almost fell asleep there. Our fire department, along with our DPW and police department, they were working in concert, dealing with trees falling on a house on Elm Street. This was on August 12th. Also snapped poles and high-tension wires that electrified a fence. Happening simultaneously, a small tree fell on a home in Birchwood that they actually helped remove from the resident's house. Major power lines also came down on Route 4. Numerous gas leak calls also. All within 2 hours, everything was under control as far as their obligation. So to all those departments, outstanding job. Regarding JIF, our Joint Insurance Fund, at a recent executive safety meeting, the topic surrounded municipal employees and court safety plans regarding an active shooter. I like the proactive approach that JIF is taking in this area, bringing this topic to the awareness of the municipalities. Subsequently, they could look at their facilities, maybe make some small changes, develop a plan to help mitigate such an ungodly act. Our rec department, summer camp is winding down. The department is gearing up for its fall aftercare programs. Additionally, addressing the remediation of parks' children's apparatus and considering installing cameras here once again to mitigate the vandalism problem that we are experiencing. Back to you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Cherto?
The intersection of Boulevard and Molinar, there is a light out, so be cautious, mainly for the people that are here, not so much for the people that are seeing this, because by the time you see it, the light will be taken care of.
We hope.
Positive thinking, positive thinking. So just please be aware of that. I was talking with Superintendent Scott Cars. About 71 letters are going to be addressed regarding residents throughout the community that have trees that need to be taken care of within the property lines. Potholes are being addressed. The chipper has been working in overdrive through the storm that Bob mentioned that happened on Friday. Changing topics, for anybody, any boy in 1st through 4th grade, Cub Scout Pack 8, the only Cub Scout pack left in Elmwood Park, will be having a recruitment on September 23rd. That's a Friday night. Friday, September 23rd at 7 p.m. at the St. Leo's Church basement. If you have a son in 1st or 4th grade and you are interested, you should be getting some sort of flyer in your mailbox or in your folder at school. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me personally and I can get you all the right information. Thank you.
Councilman Martino?
Well, this is the last time I'm going to be speaking here. There's a lot of people probably going to be happy about that. There's a lot of people right in the audience here that are extremely happy about that, which I'm okay with. I decided to move on, and for those of you who don't know, I'm going to be moving, hopefully in the next month or so. This has been a 3-year journey. I guess I remember 3 years ago when people knocked on my door, please run, 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 run. You know what, I reluctantly did it, and I'm glad I did because I've gained a lot of new friends. Like I said, there's going to be a very big percentage of people that are happy right now, which is good for them. And the people in the audience that are laughing and that make comments that they don't think I hear them, shame on you. The other thing is, you know, the people I work with and the friends I've gotten over the years, the people on the council now, I respect, and that's why I'm doing it this way. I'm not doing it in a way where it's backhanded or reverse or anything else. The only thing I do would listen to people. I'm the 7th volunteer in this town to have decided to move in the past 3 weeks. I know them all personally. When I say volunteers, people that give out their time for football, baseball, soccer, what have you. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, but I got to tell you, it's a bad trend for the kids in town. In fact, this year, the Bomber football barely just got off the program for the flag football because they had no one volunteering, because people were leaving. As of today, there are 98 homes for sale in Elmwood Park. I don't know what that trend means, but for the people that are staying here, and probably 95% here are good, decent people, you should work on this, come to the council meetings, and express your thoughts. Because your thoughts, sometimes, we don't think of all the thoughts. And the thoughts, they might make sense, they might not make sense. And for that, I quote the person that's about 5 feet away from me, I bid you adieu.
Thank you. Mr. Gable? No report. No report. Okay, so it's my turn. Bear with me. I was trying to memorize this script all week, so I think I got some gray hair because of it. But here it goes. Got 5 minutes. Okay, I'll be good for 5 minutes. Now, I wasn't able to attend, I was out of state, but earlier in the month, we held National Night Out. And again, National Night Out is a police, law enforcement, community partnership. And I want to thank Chief Foligno, our police department, our fire department, our ambulance corps, and all the volunteers to make it a success. It's one of the most important steps in having a true community-oriented police department, which we do here in Elmwood Park. At the end of over the last 2 weeks in July, our police department held a junior police academy, and the enrollment was probably on the order of 70. We had about 3 times as many enrolled as we did last year. So it was a success. I had the privilege of attending both graduations, and it may not turn all the youth to careers in law enforcement, but it certainly impressed upon these young people how important it is to have a professional, police department in our borough, and they're going to communicate that to their friends and their family and their neighbors, and that will go a long way in I don't want to use the right word here, but fostering a true police community partnership. The other night, I had the opportunity to attend the library board meeting. There was a special meeting held at the library board, and I've been vocal about the capital project in the past, specifically about whether we need an addition or how we implement more space down at the library. But I really went down, the mayor was out of town, I thought I'd just go and listen. There were a couple of change orders being entertained by the board, and I asked one question at the end. I asked who was managing this project, and I really didn't get a sense that there was ownership. There was some talk that it was the architect. Others said, I felt a lot of responsibility was unfairly being projected on our library director. So what I'm asking the library board to step back and slow down. I think collectively, you should all talk around the table. We want a project that's going to be successful. It's a considerable amount of money, but we want it spent for the future of this borough. So it's incumbent upon the library board members to all around the table say, hey, let's take a step back, let's look at this project, and hopefully reach out to the governing body, and we could put our best heads together and make sure that this project is completed on time, on budget, and gives the best opportunity to have a library for the future in our borough. And finally, as Councilman Martino mentioned, it's his last meeting. He's retiring as of September 1st. I'd like to say we served together, and he's been nothing but professional. He's brought a lot of ideas around our discussions around the table. I wish him all the best, him and his family. He will be back on the 15th. I think we're going to have him back for a plaque, so we'll see him at least one more time.
Thank you.
That's it, Keith. So we go to open the floor to the public? We got to do it. We got to do a stop now. We got to take a 20-minute break. Okay? Okay. We have a motion to open the floor to the public? So moved. Councilman Dombrowski, second?
Second.
Councilman John Domenica, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Is there anyone in the public wishing to be heard? Please state your name and address for the record.
Lisa Montagna, 459 Manchester Way, Wyckoff, New Jersey.
Donna Sclafani, 114 Phillip Ave, Elmwood Park, New Jersey. Hi, we're here representing Sal and Denise Ingwe and Rare is Beautiful, a nonprofit organization. The organization was formed as a result of a genetic rare disease which affects their daughter Dee Dee. Sal and Denise really wanted to be here tonight, but they're unable to do so. They're currently on their way to Ohio to meet with the doctor at the Nationwide Children's Hospital to discuss the research of Peutz-Jeghers syndrome in the hopes of finding a cure. Was the 5K for Rare is Beautiful approved?
It was.
It was, okay. Well, on behalf of Sal and Denise Ingwe, we would like to thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else in the public? Fresh tape. State your name and address.
Mayor and council, just briefly, before I get started, congratulations, Steve.
Thank you.
And thanks for your service, thankless job. Okay, on the library, I'm glad you brought that up. I missed the last library meeting. It was a special meeting called this past Friday at 6 o'clock. Now, come on, guys, 6 o'clock on a Friday in the summer. This project has been railroaded down your throats from day one. As Lou well knows, when I sat on this council, there was no capital plan on this library for improvements as far as an addition. That came after, and I've explained this many times to the public, after the need to pave the parking lot. Needless to say, there are no statistics to date from that library that show the need for an addition. Does the library need to be remodeled? Yes, the roof leaks, We know we have soffits falling. We know it needs a technology plan. But there has not been any consideration whatsoever towards that at all. And I've spoken against it at the library board. I was put on by the Democrats a couple of years back, and I got an illy. And I speak against it again, and I just brought it to your attention a couple of meetings back. I challenge any of you to look at that capital plan, go to library statistics, and show me where you see the need for an addition. To spend $2.5 million of taxpayers' money is ludicrous. You have a fiduciary duty to look over these things, and so does the library board. And Lou, I agree with you, I don't even know if there's a project manager. I see the prints at the last minute, and I've been in construction 40 years besides being an engineer. It's been just railroaded right through people, and you're going to pay for it. Believe it or not, you are paying for it. You pay to the tune of $800,000 a year of your tax dollars. Now, if your budget is $625,000, you can figure where that money came from. But your duty is not to spend it if you don't need to spend it. The duty is to bring that library into the 21st century. What you should be doing is technology and upgrading that library. Even this new plan to date, with the addition, does not have a new roof around that library, which leaks. They're going to patch it and get a maintenance contract, which is completely ludicrous, guys, because you're going to pay for that through the nose. So basically, I wash my hands on this project. I will be adamant to revamp that library, revamp your parking lot. Your cost right now is at $1.5 million with the architect so far. We don't have a plan to move the books. We don't have a plan for the drainage yet, which is going to cost additional. Mark my words, you're going to spend every bit of it and more. Thank you.
Rich, I would just comment that instead of washing your hands of it, take ownership of it with other library board members. You have the power to do that.
I'm not voted all the time. You know how it works.
Yeah, well,
We're outvoted, and it's just, and here's the prints, guys. I've been after the architect to send us the prints 3 weeks before I get them that day with everybody else.
I sense maybe, and Councilman Dombrowski was there at the meeting, that there may be some thought that they have to step back a little bit,
They should.
right? And I think,
That library should be thinking about technology. That whole upstairs computers, 3D printers, robotics for the kids. You can make a palace out of that place for $700,000. Thank you.
I'd like to just add to that. I've been to almost all of the library meetings minus the last two, I believe, including that special one. And just to clarify, Rich, because you've said that, we need to look at the plans and all that, and I agree, Oprah requested the 4 options. So that's how I obtained the copy, and I know that the library board members were not privy to that information. But just to clarify, we don't get to sit around the table and vote, actually, because statutorily the council doesn't vote on it. But I agree with you in the sense that it has been mismanaged to a certain degree to this point, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and hopefully something could come about it where a proper plan can come into place.
By all rights, you shouldn't have to over-request any of that. That should be in your package every week.
I'd like to make a comment that, as Council President mentioned, I was there at this last Friday's meeting, and they went through the process of approving the capital improvement to the electric and adding for drainage, and then they also went on and passed what they consider a resolution to allow the architect to put the bids together and go out to bid. So at the very end, I questioned. I said, you just approved the architect to put the bid together, which is not done yet.
The bid specs, Joe.
The bid specs. I'm sorry, correct. The bid specs. And then you're going to allow him to send it out without you reviewing it. I says, not only is it dangerous for the members of the library board, but it's dangerous for the community, because if those specs aren't correct and it goes out to bid, we're liable for that. Okay? So they went back and they revoted and changed that, thank God. But I will say to Councilman Gendomenico mentioned, last year we tried to do something. We put an ordinance forward that gave the mayor and the council the final word, and on the 31st of December it was vetoed. It was vetoed by the mayor because we had a new governing board come in. And at that point, it had to go through the whole motion again. But we as a council here tried to do something. And I'm telling you folks, it's really a problem out there. You need to show up to the meetings. You need to be heard, because they're not hearing you. And we are trying to do everything we can We're not trying to stifle the program. I don't think there's one person up here that wants to see this program stifled. But if they're going to spend your money, our money, then spend it wisely. Spend it the right way. Spend it on things that are needed. Mr. Chewinski is on the library board. He just mentioned that they're not going to replace the roof. Walk in that building. Look up. If you don't think that roof needs to be replaced, seriously, folks, get involved. Let them hear what you have to say, not just what we have to say. And we as council people did make an attempt last year. And I think an attempt should be made once again by this council to bring that up again and think about what we tried to do last year. I think we should very much consider it, because what you've been hearing now throughout all these months, we're in August, 8 months now, the new council has been in. There's issues. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what direction they're going in. They call a Friday afternoon summertime meeting. People are on vacation. The mayor's on vacation. Okay? So before we break ground, and we want them to break ground eventually. I mean, break ground or fix the building, whatever. But do it right. Now they're trying to shove it down the throats of the community. I agree with you, Mr. Chewinski.
Let me give you one better. It's one of our trustees here, Doris. We brought up about 7, 8 months ago when they were having a problem with the roof and the soffit falling, to do an emergency repair, which wouldn't affect it even if you put an addition, you could have redid that roof. And we voted to do it, and told our chairman to have it done. They never went out to anybody for bids or anything. Thank you.
Doris Switzer, 124 Phil Barrio. I'm a library trustee too. I sat on this library, it's going to be 10 years. I was off with the rain, came back. The first 5 years I sat on the board, we were doing the addition to the library. It wasn't going to be an addition, it was going to be a complete renovation. Now I agreed about putting the addition on for the library, for the children's wing. I've walked through that library a number of times. We close up the top of that library. We can have so much more room. We can make upstairs half of it the children's library wing. We can soundproof it, because when there's any programs going on upstairs, people downstairs that are trying to study, read books or something, they hear it. They're disrupted. It's a shame. The roof, like Rich had said, we've been complaining about that since last year. We have found dead squirrels in our library. You have to walk over it. The mayor has come to the library when it's rained. He says there's a couple of buckets on the floor catching the rain. That shouldn't be that way. There's no reason for anybody to walk into the library, have to walk over buckets because it's raining and the roof is leaking. We've asked for the library board to do it. We have passed resolution after resolution. Nothing's getting done. And about repairing the roof, that's what's in this contract for the addition, is to repair the roof. 10-year contract that every year that the company will come in and check to make sure the roof is being maintained the way it's supposed to be. If it is not, we have lost the contract, and then we have to go and have to repair it again on town's money. We replace it, we repair it, we replace it instead of repair it. It's one time, it's cost of $150,000, and that's what some of the trustees are complaining about. We're spending that money foolishly. No, we're not. It's a building that's going to last. It's our legacy to our children. All the new updates and all the new books and everything that we could do once we have this building, completely renovated. It's a step up for Elmwood Park, and that's what we really need in this town. And I really invite everybody to come to a meeting and please express it, or invite us to come here and we can go over all the specs and everything else. Rich and I are the only two that didn't get invited to the last minute to this meeting on Friday. They knew we were both going to be away.
Excuse me, you didn't get invited
Well, we got invited that morning.
that morning? Mr.
And
Kazmar.
what I understood is that we had made phone calls to other people to make sure that they could make that meeting Friday night.
Well, it's my understanding that they have to post it in the paper that they're having a special meeting. I'm surprised that you would only find out on Friday.
Well,
I'm not discrediting what you're saying. I'm just saying that there's a law.
I got mine on Friday. My computer had gone down.
Okay.
I opened it up on Friday.
Okay.
Maybe Rich got it maybe Thursday. But
Okay.
still, the point is, we had no meeting scheduled in August.
Understood.
So everybody plans their vacations. So this was called at the last minute, in my opinion. And there were certain people there, which you sat there with, and not the ones that always make a complaint or always ask for something more. to be done, and it wasn't taken care of. And it wasn't involving us involved to this meeting. Now we're having a meeting in September, and God only knows what's going to happen then.
Doris, can you mention for everybody when your next meeting is, so that if anybody from the audience would like to join, and people who are viewing this at home?
The third Monday of September. I'm not sure the date.
Right.
But, I'll be in again with this meeting, so.
Thank
But
you.
I wish you'd really get involved and come see us. Lou, I'm glad you were there. Joe, I was glad you were there to express what was going on because, like I said, it wasn't for Rich and I asking all these questions and, always going, saying things. It's not going to be
Thank you,
done.
Doris.
It's going to pass.
Ms. Wexler, if I may, first of all, to you and Mr. Chewinski and all the board members, all of them, I thank you for what you're doing and trying to do. But, as I hear you say that you and Mr. Chewinski are saying, how does the board treat what you just mentioned, closing in the second level? I mean, when you bring that up, what happens?
They don't want it. The mayor wants the skylights. He wants the building intact the way it is. He doesn't want it to be renovated anyway. He wants the skylights. I agree with the skylights, but you have to replace everything. Everything has to be new. Patching something is not going to do it. That's what has been going on with this library all along. Putting a Band-Aid on is not going to last. Let's do that's the right way. We have the money, do it the right way the first time. So our kids, this is our legacy to our children in the future of Belmont Park. If we don't do it now, there might not be another chance.
Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but at the meeting, I found out that I thought when they said that they were putting monies forward to do the sewer system, what I found out, folks, is that they're not connecting the drains into the sewer system. They're just going to put bigger holding pits.
That's what we have right now.
That's what we have now. That's filling up with the dirt, the leaves. So, and Council President, correct me if I'm wrong, they're just going to have, instead of having a smaller drainage pit, they're going to make a bigger drainage pit. So, and we have history that they don't maintain the library. So unless they maintain that, it's going to be the same thing over and over again. In my opinion, the library board, and it was mentioned that they should have taken the drainage and connected it to the sewer system, which is right there.
Mr. Twitsky told the architect that night when he came with the new plans. He explained everything. He went with Mr. Cars and they looked at it. And now all of a sudden he didn't know about it, now we're going to have a pit instead of...
The sewer manhole is exactly right at the very beginning of the parking lot driving into the library.
So-
I don't expect it to go that far.
Again, we're not going to design the library here, but again, the one thing that I took away the other night was it really needs, from the very top, somebody to kind of look at the whole project, how the money is apportioned, and what the trades are, whether it's additions or whether it's drainage. Nobody's looking at making those trades, and what's happening is they're adding scope, but they're not sure what the impact of the schedule is going to be. They're not sure what the impact of the budget's going to be, whether it's budgeted or not. There's really no project manager, and it's unfair because, I mean, if you've managed construction projects, you understand, but if you don't, if you haven't, it's hard. So it's unfair to ask the library board to do that, but if they don't have the capability to do that, that's something that should be done first, and then everything kind of falls after that. And what I felt was there's going to be a lot of finger pointing between whether the architect owns it, whether the library director owns it, whether or not the library board owns it. So I think it would be prudent for us collectively to step back, look at it, and figure out the right way forward. And my personal opinion is it should be a combined effort. If we could ever get to that point, that would be fantastic. But-
I'd like to invite you all to please come to our next meeting if you can, or if we could schedule, see if I can schedule something.
Thank you.
with trustees to do it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you.
very much.
Anybody else? Oh, okay, but hurry up. I'm way off the script
Only
now.
get 3, Rich. Only 3 minutes.
I thought it was 2.
On that issue with the drainage, just to inform you, that came up late when we were going through the plans, and I was trying to put the final numbers to their stuff, the rough numbers that the architect was giving us, and I mentioned to him there was no drainage connection, which they're unaware, but the original library plans, when this thing was built in the 70s, does show a drainage system that should have been connected to the boulevard. So all those deep pits, none of them are, they're not even seepage tanks, they're just concrete vaults is what they are. And so we brought that to his attention. Now, when I just found out about this, I haven't been to the meeting, so I haven't seen this yet. This just enlarged the pits, which is ridiculous. ridiculous, because the water table there right now is not bad, but that water table is about 5 feet down in that area there, so it's just going to fill up and be a mosquito trap anyway, guys. But the kicker that really bothers me on that, I mentioned that a while to the architect, we got hit with another $12,000 fee, review, or engineering fee, architect fee, you want to call it, to design the drainage plus the electric system for the building. So we're getting nickel-dimed already, and I just don't like the way it's headed, guys. But bear in mind, I did ask, because there's a certain select few who are on the construction committee that met with the architect, who we never met for the longest time. I asked to be on that committee, being that I'm a builder and engineer, I built various commercial buildings as far as residential, you know my history. Well, I'm not allowed to talk to the architect, neither is Norris. The only one that's allowed to talk to the architect is the mayor, the chairman, and the alternate.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak?
My name is Chris Greslick. I live on Glenwood Avenue. I don't even know if I'm in the right place. The police told me to come and make my complaint here.
Oh, we don't take complaints, no.
There's this noise from Patterson. All right, this is the third summer in a row. It really is very bad on Glenwood Avenue. When I walk around town, you can hear it on Elmwood, you can hear it on the Boulevard. It's not I've lived here for 30 years, so it's not the usual when they have things over there, you know, events and things like that. It's one guy with a car and amplifiers, and he's in the park, Larry Doby Field, and you can hear it clear across the river, okay? All hours, 7 at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, okay? 10 o'clock at night. I've spoken with the mayor constantly. He hears it. I went to his door today. I called him and left another message. He says he's done all that he can do over there. I talked to the police, with all due respect. I talked to Chief Foligno, and I'm just told that they can't police, you know, Patterson has to police themselves.
Mrs. Griswold, the chief is here. I think he may have a report maybe to give on the subject, and can I ask him to come up and we can discuss it?
Yes, I've spoken to Ms. Griswold before about this, and
Chief, you're going to have to go to the microphone,
so the video picks it up.
because it's public. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the... Sorry.
We've spoken about this before. I'm equally as frustrated as she is, although I don't hear the noise, I get the complaints. We put a policy in place immediately, which our officers call Patterson. They are to ask for a supervisor. A supervisor from my agency speaks to a supervisor from their agency. We tell them what the complaint is, we tell them the vicinity we think it's coming from, and then pretty much it's on them to handle their own problems in their own town, although the problem is becoming ours. We document all that. I have all the records saved downstairs, and that's pretty much all we can do. I mean, I understand Patterson, they have shootings, you know, several times a week. They have homicides, they have a huge drug problem. So I guess their hands are tied, but I don't know what else to say or do from our end. That's the policy we have in place. We call them, sometimes they get there, sometimes they don't. I mean, you're dealing with a completely different animal when it comes to...
Keith, is there something we could do from a borough to the city point of view?
Well, we have, and the chief and I have been in contact both with the mayor's office in Patterson and also with the public safety director, Jerry Spezial. We've had multiple conversations at the administrative level, too. I too share the chief's frustration on this because the mayor brings this up quite frequently when he's here, because it is a quality of life issue. So it's about our police department, you know, communicating with them and then hoping to some degree that they're vigilant enough to address it in a timely fashion while the activity is still going on. So I do believe on our end there has been some significant efforts made to try to reduce this. But, you know, we're going to need the cooperation from the folks in the city as well.
Okay, and this is the third summer in a row. And you said, you know, here I've got videos. This is in my backyard, okay, coming from the river. I can't even sit on the deck. I've got like about 8 videos. I've got them from inside, up in the bedroom with the windows shut, the air conditioning. He's got that woofer thing going. It shakes the house. And on several times when we called the police, even the police have said, all right, I can even hear just from
Well, with all due respect, I don't think there's any disagreement about the fact that this activity is occurring. It's about how it's addressed. I mean, in all fairness to our chief, on at least 2 occasions, he's reported back to me that he's personally driven over there. Now, once he leaves Elmwood Park, he doesn't have the jurisdiction to enforce it in the same way that a Patterson police officer would. But we've even gone over there to try to curtail the behavior and the activity. So there's no disputing the fact that it's happening. It's about trying to get the proper response out of Patterson to stop it so that it doesn't affect your quality of
How
life.
can that be done, being that this is the 3rd summer in a row? People in the neighborhood are moving out, okay? You just mentioned, people are moving out over there, all right? I'm not ready to move. I've been here for 30 years, I've never had a problem. So something needs to be done. I don't know what it is, but...
Well, and listen, we have tried more times than I can count, to try to address this issue. I mean, I can think of a half a dozen meetings that we've had in my office with myself, the chief, and the mayor, reaching out to the city of Patterson. But to some degree, I think your complaint is being brought to the wrong place, and I say that with all due respect.
Okay.
I hate to suggest to you to go down to a Patterson City Council meeting, because if you've watched the news the last couple of days, they have some pretty prevalent issues over there. But that would be the proper jurisdiction to have it addressed, because they're the law enforcement agency that would need to react to it and try to end it as it happens. And Chief, if there's anything that I said incorrectly, please correct me.
They are, I am cognizant of the fact that they are aware of it, because now when my officers call, the officer on the other end understands what the complaint is. They're cognizant of the fact that this is an ongoing situation. But quite frankly, sometimes they just tell us, listen, we don't have anybody available. We got a shooting, they just had a shooting over here on our border the other night. That, of course, is going to take priority and precedence. And, I understand what they're dealing with, and they have to triage and prioritize things. So, unfortunately, our complaint of noise doesn't fit into their scheme of policing on some evenings, and that's the nature of that beast. So that's what we're dealing with. So this may be an issue for, the town council over in Patterson or the mayor's office to have to issue some kind of a directive on it.
To make it a priority.
Yep.
Some sort of noise ordinance. I don't know, if they have something like that?
Oh, I'm sure they have everything in place. It's a matter of getting resources to enforce it when you're dealing with shootings and homicides.
The other night when it was 2 in the morning, and obviously you've had other complaints, because when I called, the officer didn't even let me finish. She's like, I know, I'm giving the number to Patterson out. Call over there, and call over there. And I'm like, nobody's even supposed to be in that park, and when it's dark. And they're like, oh, well, they sneak in there, and then they act like they don't even know who I'm talking about. 2 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, your house is shaking. This is, like, something needs to be done, something the town needs to do, and I've addressed it with the mayor. This is like the 3rd year in a row.
Keith, is it something that maybe we can, just draft a letter that we all, signed, council, mayor, council to mayor, and
to be honest with you,
council?
if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to speak for Mayor Mola, who's not here, but I believe that he has sent correspondence with his signature below over to the mayor's office in Patterson and to the public safety director over there, asking that this become a priority, this enforcement. So again, I realize that it affects you on a daily basis, but it's not from a lack of effort on our side from trying to address this. I mean, this has been a top-tier issue for us to try to get the proper response out of Patterson. And the mayor, myself, the police chief, we're equally as frustrated that we're not getting a response that benefits our residents from the city of Patterson. And
Well, then does the media need to get involved or something? Because I'm at wit's end here, okay? And I'm ready to get the media involved. That's where I am with this. And I live in this town, I love this town. This is ridiculous.
But again, but I think that's the point. I say this with all due respect. It's not our town. It's not this town that's problematic.
All right, but something...
It's what's happening in another municipality that's causing the problem.
There is communication, and as I explained, we have a policy in place. But beyond that, Mrs. Guzak, I don't know what else we physically can do as the Elmwood Park Police Department or the Elmwood Park, appointing authority or governing body. Patterson polices Patterson, we police Elmwood Park. We notify them of the problem. We even took it a step further. We get the supervisor's name, we document it, and it's incumbent upon them to take enforcement action.
Right.
Beyond that, I mean, I don't know what else we could possibly do.
Council President.
I understand your frustration, because I get these complaints on a regular basis.
Council President, if I may suggest that, in the next couple of days, we have a discussion, and maybe we send a non-quorum group of councilmen to the next Patterson council meeting and speak on behalf of our citizens.
And just to add to that, because I was going to echo the same sentiments, maybe you could get a letter together and have all the residents in that area sign it, just so it shows the amount of families in the houses that it's being impacted, to bring to the meeting, just to give it to the governing body, along with a letter from us expressing.
I think the video that she's got is pretty well,
And I've got like, 7 others,
Yeah.
okay? I mean,
I can also provide you with our records of all the calls and how we responded to them on our end. We could bring that with you as well.
We'll have a discussion, Chief, on that.
Okay. We'll put it on our agenda for our next work meeting to discuss how we approach it.
he wants to go, not me.
You're right.
We'll discuss it at our next work session. Thank you, Ms. Griswold.
Thank you.
Next.
Who's last?
Name and address for the record?
Steve Conti, 274 Market Street.
Welcome.
It's been a while. 390 Boulevard, what happened with that house?
It's boarded up.
I know.
It's basically been condemned by the Board of Health. It's unoccupiable. And it's currently, I believe, I think it's in bankruptcy, or a bank of some sort is involved in it.
They were cleaning it out the other day with a big dumpster there.
Okay, well, that's a positive sign, considering what's been
They
there.
were cleaning it out, yeah.
We do have a property maintenance code in this town, correct?
Yes, we
Who
do.
enforces it?
The building department.
Okay. With the new streetscape going in, starting by my buildings, going down, looks very nice. From my buildings this way, looks horrible. Now, I don't think many people on Market Street maintain their properties like I do. So I do think whomever in the building department should be walking around and start finding people for weeds, for debris on the side of their buildings, for not picking up, because it's a hellhole. Now you're gonna have this new project past me to the boulevard, it's gonna look nice, and then you get up this way. Start finding these people. Because I can tell you right now, if that was my property, I'd be fined. Okay? So that's one thing.
Through you, Council President, if I may, Mr. Conti, I'm well aware that you and I had a conversation with Mr. Kartz about 48 hours ago. The plan on Market Street with Phase 2 currently being installed through the federal grant that we received is that we are going to take some local resources from Public Works and have them go in and make some repairs to brick pavers and reduce some of the weed growth and that type of thing, and most importantly, replant some trees that didn't survive from Phase 1.
And I know it's a great idea.
And that's the plan, and granted, we're maintaining property that is rightfully the responsibility of the property owner, which is why, as I shared with you, a letter's going to go out from myself and Mr. Kartz once that work effort is complete, advising those and reminding those residents, or those property owners, I should say, that prospectively, they are going to be responsible for and held accountable for continuing to make those properties look the way they should after DPW is done with their work effort.
If the DPW has to hit those properties again, can you charge the property owners?
They're not going to hit them again. Then it'll be in the hands of the building department.
Okay. The parking over here on Van Dyke Avenue that the police department and workers here use at times, that's state property, correct?
It is. We have a lease
Okay,
agreement.
you have a lease. It's been a while, but years ago I brought up about a shared parking ordinance for businesses. And that went on deaf ears, I assume, because nothing's ever came about from it. Or it hasn't, or is it still tabled?
Any shared parking ordinance would be a policy decision made by the governing body.
I understand that. But
I can talk to you administratively, I can't talk to you about policy, that's that.
Is anybody on the council going to bring about a shared parking ordinance at any meetings in the upcoming future?
A few years ago, it was brought up and it was tabled.
Yes, it's still tabled, huh? Because technically what the town is doing is a shared parking ordinance with state. Why shouldn't some businesses have shared parking ordinances? A lot of businesses aren't able to open up because whomever says not enough parking. By me, I own 3 buildings. My people park in my lot. They park along Terrace Street, the paper street, which I'll bring up in a few minutes. But if I didn't have that parking, people aren't going to be able to open up their businesses. You need to do something about shared parking ordinance, okay? Because you're not helping businesses in this town by not bringing it up and passing it.
Mr. Conti, this is my first year on the council, so the proposition is the first time I'm hearing, but I don't see why it can't be brought back to a work session. I don't know when it was tabled and how many years ago.
Oh, it's been an ongoing story.
But I don't
Nice
think
to
there's a
meet you, by
reason.
the way.
Likewise, but I don't see a reason why we couldn't bring it up for discussion. Unless there's some reason I'm gonna.
I'll only be a few more minutes, guys, I'm sorry. Steve, sorry to see you go.
Thank you. I'm not going far.
I know. Market Street and the Boulevard, I know they're planning on widening that with the county, and I know it's going out for bid now, I guess, through the county. What did you think that they would have put that out for bid earlier?
We tried to make that happen. The ideal situation would have been for the intersection to have been completed before the streetscape project started. County got delayed. We obviously are on a pretty strict schedule because it's a federal grant on a streetscape. So to some degree, was it the ideal way for it to roll out? No, but it was the time frame that we needed to meet.
Beach Street, which is the dead end by me, no pun intended. There's a guardrail at the end of that street. There's a guardrail at the end of that street, which has been damaged and broken by the town plows or whatever. It's hanging. Can somebody get it on the agenda to possibly fix it? And the other issue I have there on Beach Street is the weed growth where the guardrail is. My landscaper cuts it. It's not my property. Okay? It would be nice if the guys can come and take care of it. Because the property owners certainly aren't doing it. Somebody's got to do it. And I ain't going to let it look like hell. It would reflect on my properties.
Keith, you made a note.
Now, another thing. Bob, you brought up about this new big dump truck. You know, we could use it for moving snow. You guys haven't moved snow in years. I move snow in front of my 3 properties, the side street, Beach Street, Terrace Ave, which is along the school property. The church lets me put the snow on their property, and I take care of the church by doing it. I pay for that. This town hasn't moved snow in 15 years. So if you're going to tell me, when we get another couple of storms this year, that the town's going to clean up the boulevard, the business district, I'm going to hold you to that. Because what it costs me to move snow every year, it's out of my pocket. So the town doesn't do it. Other towns do it. We don't do it. So if that truck is going to sit down there and do nothing, you're wasting your money.
Let's hope, Steve, that don't happen, and that's what we're trying to do. Can I tell you a little story about snow removal?
Go right ahead.
Okay.
I can tell you stories about snow removal too.
Okay. I live on the corner Stone and Herman, and there's maybe 20 houses surrounding me. 4 of us have snow blowers, and the 4 of us clean the whole city block, make sure all the old people in all the old houses have access, and we clean their driveways. So I understand there's a community aspect to this too that we all have to buy into, Our DPW is just so large, and I'm not making amends for them for the past, but this is what we're trying to improve. This large truck will give us better capabilities so that maybe you don't have to hold me to that in 2 years from now.
The DPW is large. They don't have enough help. Let's be honest. Especially when you get that kind of snowstorms. Okay? And the other thing that they make the mistake of doing is they plow the freaking corners. So now you've got a 5-foot, 6-foot drift on a handicap, and you're supposed to clear it?
It's tough.
It's tough. I got an ATV with a plow. That's how I do my sidewalks. Okay? They can't do it. They've got to do something better on the freaking corners here because they're killing property owners. My last thing, well, I got two more things. Safe Valley Water. I forgot to bring it with me tonight. I have a house filter at the funeral home to filter the water. Okay? How many people have house filters in this audience right now? Anybody? Okay, you do. If I brought in the filter that I change every 4 months into this meeting, and you see what the filter filters out of this water, you'd be appalled. Do they do any kind of filtering except chlorinate the water? Okay. My last thing, and this really ticked me. Then I'll be done actually. Terrace Street is your road. There were a number of potholes, probably about a dozen. Called about getting them repaired. Towns didn't come in to patch the holes, patch the holes, patch the holes. Well, there was a large pothole back there. Kids are getting out of school, and I'm watching these kids going through, running around the potholes. So what do? Of course, I called John DeRid. John, I got potholes on this back road. Come and fix it the right way. He fixed a dozen potholes for me. You know those potholes haven't moved since he fixed them? It cost me $1,200. So what did? I sent a bill to the previous mayor and council, who refused to pay. Now, I'm going to tell you now, that back road hasn't been paved in 30 years. Do you know who plows it? I do. Okay? Do you know who moves the snow? I do. After the picnic, I got another project going on the back road to help the church out. Who's paying for it? I am. It would be nice that a simple $1,200 bill you guys refuse to pay because I patched the potholes. I put a 2,000-gallon drywall in there on your street because of the flooding that was back there on my dime. Okay?
Steve.
Wait, let me finish, please. I took the liability on that drywall. It's a town road. It's a town road. It's a paper street. It's a dedicated road. Now, if you're not going to maintain it, and if you're not going to do anything on it, then give it, I'll pay for it. How's that? Okay? But you won't do it because you can't, because the deed was St. Leo's property from the Hillmans. So that can never be done. Trust me. I researched it. You guys, the next road project, pave it. Because I'm going to tell you now, if you don't pave it and if I pave it, I'm going to send you the bill. And you're not going to pay it, and then I'm going to make a big stink about it.
Steve, I understand your frustration.
No, you don't,
Well, I do. I truly do.
That's why I haven't been down here for a year in this meeting.
But
because you know why? A lot of issues I brought up in the past, I'm still bringing up. Because the things don't get done. This is why government doesn't work. Okay? And at the library fiasco, I won't even get into that because I was on a library board years ago. What they want to do there is totally ridiculous. Ridiculous. They are wasting the money. Okay? And if the people that are on the library board that are voting for this should be thrown off. Because you're wasting taxpayers' money. A logical plan to renovate that, it's very simple. But to just spend the money, to spend it is ridiculous. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I walked back.
Name and address for the record.
Renee Pellegrin, 83 Elm Street, former councilwoman. I rarely ever come up here to speak because I really respect everybody and the jobs they're doing. But today, I have to. The resident that was complaining about the noise, I heard it last week, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I've heard it many other times, but that was the latest I've heard it, or the earliest, however you want to look at it. I understand we did things to try to rectify the problem, but this has been going on 3 years. And what I think should happen as a leader, we're the voices for the people. Okay, there's policies, but you know what? Our mayor, possibly the police chief, a couple of cops, drive down to that council meeting, mayor to mayor, police chief to police chief. You don't expect this woman to go down to a Patterson council meeting by herself. We are the voice of the people. We should have thought of that the first year the complaints were made. I get very emotional because we're up here to do a job. We're not perfect, we all work hard. But after 3 years, if I was the mayor of the community, I would have been damned, and I'm nothing against the mayor, but we have to put our heads together. Our leaders had to have this idea the first year, whether it be the mayor go down, the police chief, a couple of cops so they're safe. You don't want anybody not being safe. But to expect this woman to figure it out herself and go down there, that's not an option. That's not why we're here to do a job. We're the leaders, we're the voices. And, you know, if there's policies in places and we did what we could, well, guess what? There's got to be a higher agency to go to rectify this problem. And I don't know why it's taken 3 years and this woman can't enjoy her home. We work hard. We pay a lot of money in taxes. And it should have happened the first year. And I'm not a negative person. I'm not running this year. I'm up here because I almost cried for her. Because it's ridiculous that you can't enjoy your own home. Figure it out, leaders. Figure out who has to go down. Figure out who we have to go to rectify the problem. It's not an answer, we did what we could. No, we didn't do what we could because the problem isn't solved. So I say you're all good people, you all work hard. I've been in that position. But 3 years to solve this problem is ridiculous. Figure it out, and please get it done for all the residents. Thank you.
Through you, Council President. Mrs. Pellegrin, I just want to say that we cannot force Patterson to do their job. And I realize that you are passionate about this, and you and I work together, and you know I have a tremendous amount of respect for you, Lorraine. And I feel for this individual. I've spoken to a half a dozen other residents in this community who are equally affected as the resident who spoke tonight. And I'm not here to defend Mayor Mola, but I can tell you that Mayor Mola and myself have had at least 5 conversations that I can recollect with Mayor Torres. I can tell you, but hear me out. I can tell you that with Chief Foligno in my office, we've had at least 3 or 4 conversations with Police Director Speziel. These are the leaders in Patterson. These are the people that we expect to respond when a neighboring community has a problem.
Okay.
And quite frankly, to our great disappointment, as to the residents' disappointment, we're not getting that response. So we are equally as frustrated.
I get that you did all you could do, but if the Patterson officials are not responding to this, nothing is not an option. Then there has to be a higher authority to go to. We have one of the best police departments in the state. We heard that tonight. They got awarded.
And we've...
But Keith, I know you did all you could, but obviously there has to be a higher organization to go to for this.
We've sent our police department across the river where they don't have jurisdiction to try to manage this, because we're not getting the response from the powers that be that control and police this matter.
And I get you saying that it's on Patterson, but guess what? That there has to be somebody with higher authority, that if Patterson is not responding to what we're trying to do, then there has to be another agency. I don't know what that agency is, but there has to be somebody that if officials aren't doing their job with the complaints we're sending them and petitions and everything else, then there has to be a higher up that will handle this situation with Patterson. Not saying we did all we could and we keep trying. I don't mean this disrespectful, but that's not an answer. And I'm not knocking our police. This is one of the best things we have in this town is our police. But in my personal opinion, should have went down there when this first complaint started happening. We should have went down as a body, whether that being the mayor, whether that being the police chief, go in a car with officers, to be safe. And I know how hard you work, so I know you're doing everything.
It's not from a lack of effort, this I'll tell you.
It's not from a lack of effort, and you know me as a person. I'm not up here complaining that you're not doing your job, or neither is anybody else. You all are great people that put in a lot of time. But when Patterson is not responding, you can blow your horn 20 times to Patterson. Okay, so what's our next step, people? Do we go to a senator? Do we go to a congressman? What do we do to a higher authority to get Patterson to react to this situation? What do we do? There has to be an answer. Do I know what it is? No, but yes, you can have 20 meetings in the back room and you can all be so upset by it. But guess what? We need somebody higher up that we can say to. We reached out to Patterson. We went there. We've done petitions. We've called the mayor. If they're not responding, somebody else has to have the authority to make them react to what we're telling them.
Well, the council president's asked for it to be placed on the next work session agenda, so that might be the opportunity for the governing body to strategize. And listen, maybe a political solution is necessary here rather than an administrative solution, and I think that's what we'll talk
Well, what
about.
I'm trying to say is I get what this poor woman is saying, because when you deal with a situation a few months, that's one thing. When you guys are reaching out to them a few times, now they're not responding. Okay, we did plan A. What's plan B? Let's move on plan B. It shouldn't take 3 years to move on plan B.
We will discuss it at the work meeting and try and
I very much appreciate it because
try and
I
figure
know-
out, there's some suggestions from up here, and we'll take
Don't let it go.
we'll take a fresh look at it.
I appreciate that. And again, it's not because I know how hard you all work. So please just get it done. Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wishing to be heard? On that, I'll close the public portion. May I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, I have a note here. Hold on. Remember, this meeting was videotaped and will be on Cablevision, Channel 77, on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Oh, excuse me, just 1 minute till I finish the script here. Thursdays at 4 p.m. and Fridays at 10 a.m. The video is also available on the borough's website at www.elmwoodparknj.us. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Councilman Coletti, Councilman Zabrowski,
Yes.
all in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.
You're asking this on my blog, but I don't want to.